Welcome to the DraftKings Daily Trot. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Taking a look at the DraftKings slate. 6 games here. Starts at 7:15. Go up until the Padres game there. So a little different from FanDuel. You get yourself a Kershaw. And, kind of luckily for us, I guess you could say, is there's no mid to high other options, and you could just kind of pay down. So you do have a reasonable amount of salary. We're looking at about $3,900 left over.
I was going to say, it is Kershaw, it is $14K, but there's other options that are super cheap that I think you can go with for tournaments. So lots of different options here. I think you can pay up pretty much anywhere if you really want to. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Looking at catcher here, and I think this is kind of a position to kind of spin down at. $5K for Buster Posey isn't something that I'm on. I like sitting. I think Wieters is kind of the guy I would pay up for against Nova. Nova hasn't really been strong against lefties. I like the ballpark, 361 WOBA allowed there. If I'm paying up, it's going to be for Wieters.
Yeah, that's not a nice price for Posey. Obviously he had the home run the other day, but he hasn't been paying off his price consistently lately, and this isn't a perfect matchup, so probably fade there. Wieters is all right, especially if you dumpster dive into some of those cheaper pitching options. But last night was amazing in terms of punt catchers, and I feel like that's the direction I might go tonight. There were like 5 home runs from guys under 3K, and and I know it's not going to be like that every night.
All in like a 5-minute time span too.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then like McCann, James McCann, I believe his name is. He went off. So I feel like some of these super cheap options like Butera, if he's in the lineup, he's been streaking lately and he's only 2,200. So I'm kind of probably looking at guys like that.
I like Chris Iannetta, 3,300. I like getting exposure to that Texas-Seattle game. And you look at Perez, average lefty, 3.32 WOBA allowed to right-handers. Iannetta is a guy who has mashed lefties this year. In the past, I wish he was kind of just a little bit cheaper, but 3,300 is kind of where I'm looking. And maybe, if there is a guy in the lineup that's in that top 6 spot, I'll definitely give him a look.
Yeah, Iannetta, Norris, and then maybe even Yan Gomes. I think that's an okay tier to sort of set up camp, Yeah,
definitely. Looking at first base here, and I'm not really intrigued with the Giants' prices. I know Waka hasn't really been that great, but I feel like there are guys in better spots, better ballparks at cheaper prices. And I think you can look at these Dodgers lefties. It's an over-under of 6. Where do we think those 6 runs are possibly going to come from? Because it's sure as hell not going to be the Braves.
No. Yeah, so I like that call. Back to the Giants for a second. Are their prices so inflated that and exaggerated that it might be a good contrarian like tournament lineup just because they're so inflated and I don't think they're going to be high owned? Is it a good matchup for them?
Well, Walker hasn't been great this year. He doesn't miss many bats. I could certainly see playing some guys. I'm just thinking price considered. It's, you put
none of it makes sense. Right.
It's $9,800 between the two.
Right. And that doesn't make any sense at all. And that's super expensive. So not something you look at in terms of process, but as a contrarian tournament lineup, I can't see these guys being high owned just because it doesn't really make sense,
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. And Chris Davis was a guy I was like, maybe there was too many first baseman options yesterday, and I was like, he has a decent. Eovaldi struggled with lefties, but he's been good this season. Goes yard. His price comes up. I was kind of wishing he'd be a little bit cheaper.
I know.
But I still think he's a viable GPP option. I just like him in that park against Nova, who really hasn't been that great. So I think he's a viable GPP option. Not really a cash game guy for me though.
Yeah, I like him as a one-off. I'm not totally sold on this Orioles lineup tonight, but I think you can pick your spots and sprinkle them into lineups. So, Chris Davis, good tournament guy. Mike Napoli intriguing to me. I don't love the matchup, but again, I'm not really afraid of any of these pitchers tonight. So, but Napoli or Santana, I think those are guys in decent spots.
Yeah, I think the Indians' bets are certainly intriguing, especially because Kennedy's been somewhat average against lefties. I mean, 323 WOBA allowed. So guys like Kipnis, I mean, Santana would kind of come into play for me. Not kind of the first couple teams on my radar tonight, but I definitely don't mind them at their prices.
Right.
But I do like Adrian Gonzalez, 3,900. I think if I am kind of scooting up, it'll be for him. You look at Bud Norris, has really struggled against lefties, 362 WOBA since 2014. Big 1.55 home runs per nine. Gonzalez had a decent price tag, and these Dodgers are kind of priced up a little bit more into consideration. But overall, I mean, they're not guys that you're kind of jamming into your lineup and they cause you to kind of pay down elsewhere.
Right. Adam Lynn, 3,200. He's pretty cheap against Perez, so that's sort of the punt option there. There's not many first basemen on this slate, so
yeah, I like Hosmer.
In terms of value.
Hosmer,
they're all in that. Oh yeah.
That's who I'm looking at down low.
Oh yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shut up now.
Yeah. Hosmer hitting over 400 last 10 days, and that price tag is an absolute steal. And I think he's going to be kind of one of the popular plays.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a popular play.
Second base here, and I mean, Cano's kind of the top option despite the lefty-lefty, but I don't mind it. I just think price considered, I won't have a ton of shares for him. I kind of like spinning down to Jason Kipnis or a Chase Utley and kind of going that route.
Yeah, Indians bats are decent values tonight, so I like Kipnis. Cano, super expensive. Yeah, I sort of envision him being a part of a Mariners stack if you're making a lineup, like the full stack and not just as a one-off, really. So I think if that Mariners team hits, they're gonna hit well together. So I'm not really in on Cano by himself. I think I'd rather just jump down to Kipnis or something like that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I mean, second base is pretty weak. I mean, what Joe Panic? I mean, is he a guy who you might take a look at? I mean, he's not quite priced as high as the other Giants bats.
It's still too much for me, but I mean, if I'm gonna probably be making a giant stack of some sort and see what that ends up looking like. So I'm okay with that. But yeah, I think I prefer Kipnis at that price.
Yeah. And it looks like Odor is back tonight, so 3,700 against Carnes. That's an option because he should be jumping back. The Profar value train has been fun, but it looks like that's going to be making it stop into its final destination.
Yeah, no, it was real. I wasn't on him the first day, but the last two have been pleasant. But yeah, Odor's back. I mean, it's decent price for him. Yeah. So we're not totally getting killed off there, but yeah, definitely not the Profar value. But Castro, 3,500 against Wilson. I think he's a decent option.
Yeah, I don't mind him. Decent ballpark factors. Whit Merrifield's a guy who I don't mind. Not the biggest fan of Tomlin. I think you can kind of look at the Royals at these prices and get some nice points per dollar value there.
Agreed.
So, third base here, and I mean, you can look at guys like Seager and Machado up top. And I like both of them, but I think they kind of fit into a perspective of stacking. I kind of would rather pay down a little bit to a guy like a Matt Duffy or a Jose Ramirez, kind of that range, instead of just kind of reaching for 5K guys. I think I'm going to approach it a little more balanced.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that mid 3K range is where you should feel comfortable tonight instead of paying all the way up. But again, obviously Seager has crazy upside and he's been displaying that of late. Good matchup. I'm not even against. You can get weird. So I think you can throw a Seager Cano sort of combination in there and then see what the rest of your lineup looks like. But that could provide quite a bit of upside if that hits.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And kind of going lower, I can't get behind a lot of these guys. I mean, Justin Turner's a guy I'm not really buying in on anymore.
No, I think we hold off on him until further notice, you know?
Yeah, I mean, especially with Jose Ramirez, just a couple hundred more, who's been the polar opposite and hitting the ball really well.
Right.
I definitely don't mind attacking hitters in this game here, and I think there's a lot of nice points per dollar options.
And then I think Solarte, he's a pretty decent value at 3,500 against Bettis.
Yeah, he's been hitting the ball really well, and Bettis, I mean, no strong arms by any means. Looking at shortstop here, and I'm curious to see what Corey Seager's ownership is going to be tonight because one, it's a great matchup. He's also coming off a 3-homer game, and
what a drag that was.
At that price tag, he's just going to be super popular, as he should be, and I think he's kind of the easy way to go there.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you are a crazy person and playing cash, that's probably the move there, just for safety's sake. But I mean, Trevor Story against Cashner, solid, even though I haven't been using him much at all lately. Lindor, I mean, these guys are all top options for a reason, so they're all fair game for me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And you can kind of go down. I mean, Ledimus Diaz, your boy, sitting there at 3K. I'm not really a fan of the Shark tonight, but I think, you can look at a one-off at that price against Samaj. I don't think it's a bad price tag or idea.
Yeah, 3K is not killing you, so even if he does get like 3 or 5 or whatever, that's fine. But yeah, I think that's a tough. I probably can't do it tonight. Probably can't do it.
That's disappointing, man. He is not going to be happy with you at all.
I tried. Did you see how hard I tried to like say something? And then
but he wasn't buying it. He knew you were just holding off.
Yeah.
Holding off.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he hits a homer and makes me look bad tonight. I love you. I love you, Alabama.
Looking at outfield here, and I think there's some intriguing top options. And I think this is a spot where you can kind of do some different things. And I don't mind a Blackman or a Carlos Gonzalez. I mean, look at Petco Park; it's pretty average for right-handed or for left-handed power. So I don't mind that. And you look at Cashner; he hasn't been good against lefties, so it's kind of intriguing spin-off if you wanted to be different.
Yeah, and again, a lot of these prices, they're super inflated. So it kind of makes roster construction easy in the way, all right, I'm doing those guys. I know the way I'm going with this lineup, and I got to punt at here and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm okay with those guys, especially in a contrarian way. I don't think they're going to be super high owned. It's unfortunate to see Trumbo at 5K. He was fun for a few days there.
Yeah, and I'm kind of bummed about Lorenzo Cain being 4,900. Yeah. He's somehow the most expensive bet. I mean, deservingly so. And I think kind of Cain and Cruz are the guys that I feel the safest using at that price tag because I like them quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Cain's a solid option for sure.
Yeah. Adam Jones, 4,300 is a guy who I'm looking at in GPPs. You look at Nova, 344 WOBA allowed to right-handers. Big 1.56 home runs per 9. So I think there's a lot of pop in this Baltimore lineup, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some homers fly out on that Baltimore side tonight.
Yeah, once again, I think that's an interesting way to go. And the Rangers, I like Carnes, but I think there's an interesting way to go at them tonight. I think Mazar is a solid option, and some of those other guys as well, and Odor. I think the power on those guys, at least as one-offs, are a solid way to go.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Mazar is a great call. Franklin Gutierrez in that same game, 3,400, getting the lefty there. Gutierrez has been on fire, and that price just still isn't high, so once again, I mean, a safe kind of deployable bat in all formats. Anyone low you're kind of looking at it? I mean, I think outfield's kind of a range. I mean, out of the names we've mentioned before, who have been kind of lower in the infield, you can kind of pay up a little bit here. You don't need to steep down to a punt play.
Yeah, well, I think if you're going with Seattle, obviously Seth Smith, solid option. Is Rickard under one of those guys you're looking at for Baltimore tonight, or is he someone that has totally lost your trust?
Yeah, I'm off of him.
Yeah.
He just hasn't been the same. I mean, lost that spot there. I think you kind of look at that offense and just kind of really work around guys like Kim, Davis, Machado, and Jones and Trumbo.
Yeah, and Rajai Davis, 3,300. He hasn't done much since that crazy series he had, but 3,300 in a decent matchup. I like that as well.
Yeah. Let's get our things up here with the DK Daily Trot. Be sure to check out dailyfantasycafe.com for all our great tools and content.